Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Tom's Gadget Garage. Today I'm out here at Phoenix's South Mountain with the VMAX VX4 2800 watt edition. And we're going to see how well this scooter makes it up this mountain today. Now we're going to be targeting 3 separate lookout points. The first one is going to be Dobbins Lookout, followed by Buena Vista Lookout, and ultimately Gila Valley Lookout. And if all goes well, we're going to be looking at approximately 1,900 feet in elevation gain. So we'll see how we do today. Now for today's ride, we are going to be cruising around in sport mode, and I do have the beast mode option enabled on this scooter, which will unlock the full 2,800 watts of peak power, as well as a top speed of 37 miles an hour. And so we should have plenty of power for this hill climb. One of the things that I absolutely love about these VMAX scooters is the fact that they are very good hill climbers. So I've covered the original VMAX VX4 on this channel, the VMAX VX2 Extreme GT, the VMAX VX2 Hub, and now we've got this VMAX VX4. And every single one of those scooters has pretty much been a class-leading scooter in terms of hill climbability. They are very torquey. And so if you live in a place with lots of hills, the VMAX lineup will get you through pretty much anything you're going to come across. Now, if you haven't caught it already, I've already published my extreme hill climb test, which saw us take this scooter up an over 23% grade. And so if you haven't caught that, I will include a link in the description below. But one of the things that I love about this VX4 is the fact that it blurs the lines between single motor and dual motor scooter performance. You know, the conventional wisdom has always been if you have, steep inclines to climb up, you'll want to get a dual motor scooter because that's going to have the power to get you through it. That's no longer the case. We're seeing more and more single motor scooters with significantly more power that basically perform in that dual motor category. And this VMAX VX4 2800 watt edition is a perfect example of that. And what's crazy is the fact that this scooter weighs in at just 66 pounds, which, if you're in the market for, a lighter weight commuter scooter, that might sound heavy, but for the power that you get out of this thing, it's relatively lightweight. Now, as I was mentioning, this scooter does have a top speed of 37 miles an hour. Out of the box, though, the speed is capped at about 21.4. But when you go in and enable beast mode, which you can do by hitting the power button 5 times, it'll unlock that full 37 miles an hour. So if you get this scooter, you're cruising around, it's like, hey, this thing only goes 21 miles an hour. Well, that's because you have to unlock beast mode. All right, so right now we are coming into what I call the shadow of the mountain. This is a little bit of a grueling hill climb stretch. But once we get through this, we'll have some relief on the other side, a little downhill section. So in terms of battery on board, this is a 52-volt scooter, which is good for 1,056 watt-hours of capacity. And what I love about VMAX scooters is the fact that they offer their models in multiple battery variants. So this is the long-range edition, with a theoretical range up to 68 miles. And of course, I will be putting that to the test. So if you want to see some real-world range results, stay tuned, because I'll be doing that test here in the coming weeks. Now, it is a little bit windy today, so if you're getting a lot of wind noise, my apologies in advance. A little bit of a downhill section here. Once we get to the top today, we'll have ample opportunity to test out the brakes on this scooter. It does have a front drum and a rear disc brake, as well as electronic regenerative braking in that rear motor. And so 3 different ways to come to a stop on this thing. So we'll see how it handles the downhill section. If you're looking at some of the other models that VMAX offers, I do have a pretty extensive video library on the original 1600 watt VX4, the VX2 Extreme GT, the VMAX VX2 Hub, and then of course I've got the video series that I'm making on this scooter. But if you want to learn more about any of those other models, you'll find all those videos linked in the description below. We are coming into our first lookout point here. This is going to be Dobbins Lookout. All right, so there's the VMAX VX4, and as you can see, very sleek looking scooter. Very similar to the design of a lot of their other scooters, but as you can see, very windy day up here today on South Mountain. But regardless, we got a beautiful view of the Phoenix Metro. So there's downtown Phoenix. We got uptown Phoenix right behind it. Pius Dewa Peak, Camelback Mountain. That's where I do my extreme hill climb test. Way out there in the distance is Tempe, Arizona. That's where I do a lot of my day rides and more city environment. Basically, you're looking at the entirety of Tom's Gadget Garage testing grounds. The entire Phoenix Metro. I love it. But anyways, we're making good progress so far. We're at the 5.1 mile mark. We did start a little bit further along on our ride today because there's some kind of an event, and anyways, the parking lot was completely packed today. But yeah, we'll continue on our journey here up the mountain. All right, so we are now on our way over to Buena Vista Lookout. It's about 2 miles from our location here. And once we get there, we'll do a quick check. And battery-wise, by the way, we're sitting at, looks like 77%. So we still got a lot of juice in the tank. That's one of the benefits of having a larger battery variant, is that you can go out on longer adventures, you know? You don't have to worry too much about range anxiety. But as I was saying, you know, they offer this scooter in a couple different battery variants, so if you want to save some money and a little bit of weight, you got that option as well. Now, there are going to be some bumpier sections on our ride today, but good news is that this VMAX VX4 is a full suspension scooter. So we've got hydraulic front fork suspension in the front, which also has preload adjustment on both stanchions. So you can kind of adjust that to whatever your preference is. And then you've got elastomeric suspension in the rear, which is the same suspension we see on a lot of other VMAX scooters. And what I love about the elastomeric suspension is, compared to other scooters with similar setups, it's actually got a lot of travel, and it does an excellent job of, you know, absorbing a lot of the lumps and bumps in the road. And so I'm very happy with the suspension setup on these VMAX scooters. And what's nice about it is the suspension is completely silent. You don't have to worry about clunking or loud rebound or anything like that. They have this thing really well dialed in. All right, we are officially pulling into Buena Vista Lookout. As you can see, more beautiful views out here. We'll take a quick pause. Mileage-wise, we're at 6.75 miles. Battery remaining 67%. We're not going to spend too long out here. We're going to go ahead and head on over to our final lookout, Gila Valley Lookout. So that's going to be another couple miles from where we're at as well. Got a nice little windy road up ahead. As you can see, we're just powering right on through this. Throttle's not even all the way in, folks. We are coming into what's going to be one of the steepest sections of our ride today. And this is what I call the ridge. Very grueling little hill climb here. Some of my single motor commuter scooters will slow down to, you know, 4, 5, 6 miles an hour coming on through here. Not so with this VX4. Here's the steep section, throttles all the way in, and it looks like we are accelerating up this. So tons of power. Boom, right up and over the ridge. So as I was mentioning, you get dual motor performance out of a single motor scooter. More windy roads ahead. And I'll tell you right now, there is plenty of power on this thing. You know, we are just screaming up this mountain. Throttle isn't anywhere near all the way pushed in. Come into this turn, don't want to get too carried away here. There's the antennas straight ahead. You can see those from the entire Phoenix Metro on a nice clear day like today. Handling on this scooter coming into these curves is superb, but we'll have ample opportunity to test that on the way back down the mountain today. Throttle's all the way in, and as you can see, we are continuously picking up speed. And we're coming into another steep section. Tires on this scooter are 10-inch tubeless pneumatic tires. And they've got kind of a hybrid tread on them, so you should be able to ride this scooter both on and off the beaten path. And we are up and over the steepest section. Beautiful view of the valley out to my front and to the right. And we are officially pulling into Gila Valley Lookout. Very top of this South Mountain route today. As you can see, that windsock straight ahead. Super windy day. All right, folks, we made it. Single motor scooter for the win. Battery wise, we're sitting at 52% battery remaining, and we're at the 8.65 mile mark. So absolutely fantastic performance. There's a quick view. You can see, maybe you can see the road that we just came up snaking through this canyon here. And this VX4 did a fantastic job. But yeah, super windy day today. It's usually not this windy out here, but this scooter had more than enough power to push us through any of that. Now this scooter does have turn signals on the handlebars and in the rear, so that's what it looks like during the day. And the control layout is pretty much the same as the entirety of the VMAX lineup. The big difference here is that they've got this classic display that they have on the original VX4 on here, whereas scooters like the VMAX VX2 hub have more of an integrated display, and so a little bit of a difference there. One of the VMAX scooters that I'm especially excited for is the soon-to-be released VMAX VX6. That thing is an absolute beast. I did some coverage of that at the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas. It's a dual motor VMAX scooter with I think up to 6,000 watts of peak power. And I'll tell you what, this 2,800 watt VX4 has got more power than I think I really ever need. But you know, there's folks out there that want to push the limit, want to go to the extreme, want to, you know, take scooters up to 50 miles an hour. That scooter should be able to do that, no problem at all. All right, folks, well, as the saying goes, what goes up must come down, and it is time for us to start heading back down the mountain today. Now this will give us ample opportunity to test out not only the brakes, but also the handling of the scooter coming into some of these windy mountain roads. But as I was mentioning before, the scooter does have a front drum brake as well as a rear disc brake and electronic regenerative braking in the rear motor. So 3 different ways for you to come to a stop on this thing. Now the electronic braking on this scooter is activated when you pull on the brake levers, and so there is no dedicated regen lever or anything like that. And when you release the throttle, regen doesn't kick in that way. It actually allows you to freewheel down the mountain, which I actually like on a lot of scooters. Now you might be wondering why you'd have a front drum brake and rear disc brake. Why not just have dual disc brakes? So one of the benefits is that if you accidentally pull on that front brake lever too hard, especially in an emergency stop situation, you're going to be less likely to go over the handlebars. And coming from somebody who's gone over the handlebars on a scooter, I can definitely appreciate that. Officially made it over the ridge. There's Camelback Mountain straight ahead. Nice little windy section here. But yeah, I mean, I've tested multiple VMAX scooters with this setup, and all of their brake setups have been more than sufficient for your everyday riding. In terms of comfort on this scooter, you've got a tremendous amount of deck space, and I'll put the measurements on the screen for you here so you can see. But me with the size 10 shoe, I have no issues at all whatsoever with foot positioning. It's even got a rear kick plate, which is an absolute must on a scooter like this, which allows you to take on a variety of stances on this scooter. So right now I'm riding with my right foot forward and my left foot in the back on that kick plate, which I'll tell you right now, that's really how you should be riding a scooter like this. You definitely don't want to be flat-footed on this. All right, we got a bumpier section up ahead. We'll see how the suspension does. Beautiful. No kind of clunking or anything like that. That elastomeric suspension in the rear is silent going over that, and then the front hydraulic suspension does a good job of absorbing it all. All right, so now we're making our way back down the shadow of the mountain here. We're pretty much going to use gravity through the entirety of this section here. And that's what's nice about a scooter like this, it allows you to freewheel beautifully. right, folks, so from this point on, it is all downhill. So I'm gonna stop talking here and we're just gonna cruise down this mountain. As you can see, scooter handles beautifully coming down the mountain, and these brakes are more than sufficient to allow us to confidently control our speed coming down the mountain today. Got a little bit of a speed bump here. See how this suspension does going over this. Boom. You can definitely feel the travel on that front fork. It is completely packed out here today. Tons and tons of cars. All right, folks, so there you have it. That was our ride up South Mountain with the VMAX VX4. On today's ride, we went 16.49 miles. We had an average moving speed of 22.3 miles an hour. We hit a top speed of 32.7 miles an hour. Elevation gain 1,959 feet, and we were cruising around for 52 minutes. So as you can see, this 2800 watt version of the VMAX VX4 did a phenomenal job riding up the mountain today. Power was plentiful. Very rarely did I have to, mash that throttle all the way in to get going up the mountain. In fact, pretty much all of the steep sections we were accelerating up. So says a lot about this single motor scooter. From a battery perspective, we've got approximately 40% remaining in the tank. So plenty of juice on this thing. Coming down the mountain, really good handling, really good brake performance. Overall, very impressed with this. Now, I did mention I already published my extreme hill climb test. If you want to check that out, it will be in the description below. And I'll also be publishing a bunch of other content on this scooter. If you do want to pick one of these up, I will include an affiliate link as well as any available coupons in the description below. And let me know if you have any questions, comments, thoughts, concerns. Happy to address those. And as always, thank you so much for tuning into Tom's Gadget Garage. We'll see you next time.